Right now, our speaker is Kaley. Is it Sullenger or Sullenger?
Copy, Sullenger.
Sullenger. Okay. She's with United Way and she's the community relations director. And she's going to be talking about United Way and what services they offer and just like kind of giving us a brief flyby of what they do. Anyways, here we go.
Okay. Thank you. Hello. I'm not sure who's online, but I might know a few of you. Before I was at United Way, I was there at CASA actually. And so I did some of the volunteer recruiting and the training before I came to United Way. I'm the community relations director. So my goal is, or my job, and my goal, of course, is to increase community awareness, not only of the United Way, but also of our 27 partner nonprofits that we work with that include CASA, and to connect those organizations to each other and to the community, and to help ensure that we are meeting the needs of our community as well as we can, hopefully without anyone having to recreate the wheel. And so looks like we need to come over here. We will click on the screen and so at the United Way, this is our mission statement. So we are caring for the community by partnering with you. We believe that empowering everyone to give, to advocate, and volunteer is the most effective way to improve Smith County. And it's only by working together that we can start to create lasting change and opportunities for all. That's a lot, isn't it? That's not, it's not very simple. It's pretty complicated right outside of the gate. And so we have kind of three components to this. So one component is that with Texas Health and Human Services, we have the 211 program. And I'll go into more details about each one of these aspects as we continue on. So 211 is a help resource line. We have the East Texas Center for Nonprofits, which is also a partnership with UT Tyler. And then we have our community partners, which are our partner nonprofits that are out there in the community doing the good. And we help raise the money, and they help as well to fund certain programs that help everybody. So how do we do this? That's a lot to do. It's a lot of people involved. So we do this through three ways: our pillars, our pledges, and our partners. And so the list of companies you see over here, these are pillar sponsors, meaning they support the work that we do by helping to provide our overhead. So it is the sponsorship of these individuals. Some of this is in-kind donations where they're giving us their services, like Avco Roofing is on there. So they come, if we have a roof leak, they might come and they have pledged so much of in-kind as well as some cash sponsorship for us to help keep the building functioning so that we have a place to go to work, which is really great, and that covers the administrative costs. The other big component that we have is the pledges. The pledges is the lifeblood of the United Way. The United Way was founded back in about 1940 as a community chest program. Have you ever played Monopoly and received the community chest? It's kind of what United Way was to begin with. And so there was need seen in the community. That's a lot to do. That's a lot of money to try to go places. And so they created one fund where a lot of people put in money. Then that was used to help meet the needs of the community. We still kind of operate on this community-driven aspect today with pledges. So we go out to almost all of these companies listed, all of these employers, and we talk to their employees about what is the United Way, what do we do, and how can they help? Because we're one of the only organizations that can go to other employers and have people donate money directly from their paycheck to go to the organizations. And I'll get a little bit more into pledges in just a second. But also the really great thing about this pledges and having these corporate sponsors and these employers is that sometimes they do a match. So their employees collectively say, we're going to give $10,000 over the next year to United Way, and the company might do a 50% match or a 100% match. And so that is how we keep this afloat. And all those pledges, those go directly to those 27 community partners that we have. And our partners is the last key. Those 27, they are all in certain areas, and we have partner agencies, but we fund programs. So we want to see something specific. We want to see the outcomes of it. We want to see how that's changing our community and what we're doing. And so we do that through targeting certain impact areas. Now we're in a period of rebranding right now. United Way Worldwide is changing some of our approach and how we look at things. United Way, a lot like CASA, has a little bit beyond CASA, an international level, but that national level, they don't have a lot of governing ability over us, but they set forth kind of like a trend and an image of what we're going to do. And not all United Ways attack all 4 impact areas. Sometimes they just choose 2 or 3 based off of their community and their abilities. And so the first one that we have is community resiliency. This used to be crisis intervention, but we're changing the name a little bit, but we're addressing urgent needs today for a better tomorrow. We have healthy community. That used to be health and wellness. We're looking to improve health and well-being for all. Financial security used to be financial stability. Still kind of keeping the same idea, but we're looking at adult education. We're looking at homelessness prevention, affordable housing. Some United Ways are looking at small business support and public benefits access. And then the last one is probably the one you're most interested in, and this is youth opportunity. That used to be education. So we used to include PAVE, which was the Literacy Council. They were in education originally, but with our rebranding and our rephrasing, we've actually moved them to financial security because they're about helping adults to be able to procure a better job and to move on. So our youth opportunity is now focused more on children specifically, just like CASA, mostly youth under 18, childcare, early childhood development, in school, after school, summer learning, family engagement, and then college and career readiness. So all of our nonprofits, our 27, are listed in our pamphlet here. There's a lot of agencies, so I do want to put them all up on the screen for you because that's just a little bit much. But I'll go over a few towards the end that are more targeted towards resources that you might need or you might need to refer your parents of your children to. Any questions on kind of, and this is the core of what United Way does, is we're providing funding for programs in our community that target these areas. And it is important to note that with 27 agencies, we are actually focused on Smith County. A lot of those nonprofits, those 27, they work outside CASA. We know Wood, Van Zant, and Smith. Boy Scout serves the greater kind of East Texas, 14 county area. Girl Scouts is actually based out of Dallas. They have an even larger service area, but everything that we do focuses on Smith County as United Way, but our partner organizations are working in areas beyond that, and they are oftentimes, as you know, Van Zant and Wood, they don't have the same resources available. So while Habitat for Humanity of Smith County is focused on Smith County, sometimes their grants that they have to do projects allow them to serve individuals in other counties. Questions, comments, fun observations?
How are ISD one of your community pillars?
They're not a pillar, I don't believe, but they do participate in the pledge drives. And so that's one of our first pledges that we have is Tyler ISD during that teacher work week. We go out and visit every single campus in Thailand.
We go and talk to them a lot.
Yes.
The other groups, see them. Okay.
Yeah, they're not a pillar because they don't give that much money from themselves because they're also nonprofit, but it is pledges. Yes, sir.
So, you know, we usually make our charitable donation at the end of the year for various things. So when we give money to the United Way, where's that money going to? Your organization here, or is it going to Washington DC? I don't know.
When you give to United Way of Smith County, your money stays in Smith County. So when our programs, so even though CASA serves Wood and Van Zant too, when they apply to us for their programs, that money has to stay within Smith County. If somebody gives to us from another zip code, let's say that they live in Longview and they work, but they work here, so they're at one of our pledge drives, they donate, they write down their zip code, we send their money where they gave to the Greater Longview United Way serving Gregg County, unless they choose to designate specifically to one of our agencies, one of our organizations. But that is our whole focus, is the money you give local stays local. It does not pay for anything that's going to go off overhead. The money that you give as an individual that you pledge is going to go to one of our 27 agencies.
So if y'all are y'all giving to like a national?
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Usually I have something with an envelope and
Yeah.
a thing to fill out, and I don't probably pay a lot of attention to whether it says Smith County on there anywhere or not.
Yes,
So I don't know.
if you receive something from us, your money stays locally. So, yeah, our pillars, our pledges, United Way being a local one to have the licensing and the logo and everything else. We pay annual dues to like United Way Worldwide, but that money comes out of our pillar pledges that support our administrative and overhead costs.
So if someone's giving, they can designate,
Yes.
because I know we get funds from other United Way agencies that come to us because they were designated by somebody. It was like a different state, but I think it was Georgia or somewhere like
Mhm.
Tennessee, but it comes to us because that's where we designate.
Yes, and we get checks that come in because from other United Ways, because the person either designated our United Way or their zip code, their permanent address they have is still our United Way. And so their money goes back to their local, which is great. And if you donate to United Way, whether through a paycheck or you sign up to do it online, or you just do a one-time gift, you can choose to say, I want my money to go to CASA. And then those funds will be included in their grant award that they receive on an annual basis. So this is the heart and soul, the lifeblood of United Way. But what we do with this, the pledges, it doesn't sustain everything. And a lot of people do like to make gifts at the end of the year. And so we have Tyler Gifts. And you might see a slight name change. Tyler Gives has been going on for about 5 years. It occurs on Giving Tuesday, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So it will fall on December 2nd this year. This is a online pledge drive that happens, and you choose. Have you participated in East Texas Giving Day before? Anybody? East Texas Giving Day is a lot of fun. The East Texas Communities Foundation puts it on. It's a wonderful event. They include all of the greater East Texas area. They have over 300 nonprofits that participate, and this year they raised over $1 million during that day. And so this is kind of a miniature version of that. It occurs on Giving Tuesday, which is a national day, national event. But our Tyler Gives, and you might see a slight name change this year to like Give United, but it's the same event. This is only for our 27 partner nonprofits, including CASA. And it's a little bit like, think of it like Black Friday shopping for nonprofits. You look at the 27, you choose who you want to give and how much you want to give, you click pay, and they'll get that check. Well, we actually do digital nowadays, but they get that direct deposit into their account before the end of the year. And one of the reasons why we talk about this and we promote this is because we have $75,000 in matched donations. So we have certain times that occur that if your donation is within that amount and during that time, it's doubled because it is matched by Express has been our primary in the past years. And so you get to essentially give twice to your organization. And of course, the beauty is that, as you work with your children and their families, that they don't need just CASA in their lives, right? They need the fostering collective. They're probably visiting the Children's Advocacy Center of Smith County. Maybe they need Habitat for Humanity because their house needs repairs and they can't afford it. All of this, so yes, give to CASA. You're a volunteer here. Please give. Give directly to CASA or give through the United Way, but support that organization. But the beauty too is that if you just choose United Way, you can either choose one of those impact areas or an individual agency, but you can help across multiple fields all at once. And even if that's $1, and we do get a lot of dollar donations. Some people literally put a dollar bill on their pledge form and hand it in. But that dollar is going to go help 27 nonprofits. 1 in 4 people in Smith County have been benefited by one of the United Way programs, at least. The other thing that we do, because I said advocacy and I said volunteer, right? So our other event that we do that is one of our direct programs is Serve United. Serve United was Day of Caring for 30 years. It's a long history. Any nonprofit in the Tyler-Smith County area can submit a project, and we have about 300 volunteers from employers, social groups, clubs, organizations, families, schools, and they sign up for a project that they want to do, and they go out and do it. And we have a little luncheon in between shifts on Friday to celebrate, and on Saturday we do a breakfast. But it's a great event. It's a great opportunity to get involved. Children can participate. The age limit depends on the project. The organization submitting the project is able to set that limit. And so this ranges from anything from working at the food bank, which is a partner, to building ramps for people that would otherwise be homebound. This is Texas Ramp Project. Working at the children's park, helping to redo the flower beds, the grout, they repaint rocks. The children's park is a memorial park for children that have died young. And one of our last ones here was Champions for Children. Doesn't typically have a project because they didn't need volunteers to come in and paint or clean, but this year they were moving to a new location, so they had Serve United volunteers that came in and helped them move. And so sometimes it's a strange special event. PAVE, formerly Literacy Council, they do English as a second language classes for adults. These classes are like $25 for the whole semester, but one of the things they need volunteers for is to come in and do conversational English. Just talk to somebody to help them with their English. And so every year for Serve United, they do like a little event, and the volunteers come in, they read books to the children, they might do an arts and crafts with the children, and they just talk to adults to help them with their literacy. So lots of opportunities if you want to spend just 4 hours volunteering. If your family wants to do it, it's awesome to jump in. All right, so one of the ways that we're also working on all of this is by making connections for you. And so we do a quarterly newsletter that is news and events from all of our partner nonprofits and ourselves. So I brought some copies of this. If you would like to receive this newsletter, the newsletter is the only thing that you should receive if you sign up for this email. but you'll get it quarterly. Our next one will be coming out in September. And that will cover September through November. But it just has different events that are upcoming, what our nonprofits are doing, and hopefully some impact stories. The other thing we do is we have mixers or social gatherings. These are open to any staff, board members, or volunteers of nonprofit, or people just looking to get involved and plugged into the community. And there's no agenda to those. They just happen at Stanley's. They're always on a Tuesday from 5 to 7. And our next one we're scheduling, hopefully September 23rd. But it's just a nice opportunity to come and talk to people and discuss life, discuss work, eat some brisket if you want, have a Dr. Pepper, whatever you want makes you happy. So that's one of our big connecting aspects besides the work that I do out in the community, going to mixers, the Tyler Chamber, church and community meetings, and helping to raise awareness. I had a meeting this morning where I'm going to connect an executive director of a nonprofit with another executive director so that they can get things done for their clients in the community. And be proactive about those needs instead of just reactive, which is huge. The last thing that United Way has to offer our community is our building use. So this primarily is focused on businesses and nonprofits, but we have a small conference room. We have a huge conference room. We have a 229 person auditorium. So individuals can lease the facility if they need to for an event. It does have to be approved, but it is a fairly nominal fee to use the facility if you would like. And it's a way that also helps to cover our overhead so that all the dollars that individuals pledge and give to United Way go to our partner agencies. So this concludes our primary United Way portion of the role. Any questions before I delve into our ETCN and 211? Awesome.
I did think of a question. How do you bring new members? Do they apply to you? Or is it something, I know you probably go out and see as well, but how does that process work?
So new partner nonprofit.
Yes.
So a lot of people are interested in that. We set up a system that's available online. If you visit our website, uwsmithcounty.org, there's a get involved and I think become a partner member. So essentially you have to meet all the requirements and you submit an inquiry saying that you would be interested in becoming a partner agency if we open that up. Every year as we kind of finish our pledge season, we kind of have an idea of what we're going to have to give to our partner organizations. We have a series of recommendations coming from staff, including myself as community relations director, our CFO, the chair of the committee that oversees those grant processes. We all make a recommendation to the board. They vote to make a decision. Are we going to consider new agencies or not? If we do not consider new agencies, I let anyone that submitted an inquiry know. If we do decide to consider new agencies and I look at those inquiries, I see who meets the standards. If they meet the requirements and those are like yes, no check boxes, they answered. We invite them to fill out an application. They'll present in front of our committee that oversees the grant process. They make a recommendation to our board who approves it or not.
So the times that you decide not to would be based upon funding available.
Just kind of funding, community needs and attitudes. So the last two agencies that we accepted were the Fostering Collective and Camp B. And the funding cycle that we just completed, we sent out award letters in June. That was the first time that they received grant money from us. And it's a year delay before you receive grant money because the money that we are giving in that grant is money that's been pledged to us, but not necessarily paid. And so, but part of that reason was we knew that there was a greater need to meet the needs of children in foster care. And we knew that there were not any services directly provided and targeting veterans in our community. And so that was like a need. And at the time, we were coming from a better funding year, but they'd also started that process already with my predecessor. So we had those two new ones, and this year we did not move forward with considering applications. So the next time we make that decision will be January to March next year. Thank you. I hope, besides today, you might have heard about the East Texas Center for Nonprofits. And this is the partnership with UT Tyler. We a lot of times just call it ETCN. This was originally a United Way program, and we wanted to expand it and to be able to offer actual continuing education certificates that you could apply either towards a master's program or bachelor's or anything. But we offer grant writing classes, grant finding classes. We have a board boot camp. And I know a lot of this seems like information that as a CASA volunteer, you might not need, but most of you as volunteers have a huge heart. And I've realized a lot of times you're associated with other groups, other ideas, and other processes. So I wanted to go ahead and kind of go through this just so that you know what is offered by these things. So we do a board boot camp. What is your role as a board member? What should you be doing? How do you interact? Board boot camp. Sometimes those are general, sometimes they're done specifically for an organization. We do have some special classes. We have like a risk management class coming up, a logic models class, succession planning. And then we also provide access to consulting help and grant databases. We're working on expanding the offerings of the ETCN. Right now, it focuses a lot on young, growing nonprofits rather than well-established nonprofits. But we have some exciting ideas that we're hoping will roll out soon. With this, though, if you're interested in getting your feet wet, if you're associated with another nonprofit, or you're just curious and you want to hang out, we have a nonprofit summit coming up. This is brought to you in part by UT Tyler, of course, the East Texas Community Foundation, the Association of Fundraising Professionals, and United Way, the nonprofit center. And it does include lunch, but our programs will focus on marketing, communications, governance, leadership, and fundraising. Any questions about ETCN? And that's kind of a short section. Oh, this is our schedule, by the way. Just fun day, lots of opportunities to learn something. 211. So 211 was originally a help resource line started by United Way, but in 2002, it became 211 and a Texas Health and Human Services funded program. So it still lives inside of a lot of United Ways. A lot of United Ways have kind of broken ties and have let Texas Health and Human Services kind of take the lead on it. But if you visit our building, we're a 3-story building. Our offices are on the top floor. Those rentable spaces are generally on the bottom floor. That's also where the East Texas Center for Nonprofits is. But on the second floor is our 211 call center. And they do serve 14 counties. But this is a free information referral line. So you call, you say, I am in this zip code. And if you call from a 903 number, if you call Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you should be talking to one of our ladies on the second floor here in Tyler in Smith County that know the area. If you call outside of those times or in a busy time, you might be redirected to another 211 call center, but it should be prioritized to local. That's how it's set up to be. As you know, technology doesn't always work that way. And whenever we have large events like the flood disaster that happened a few weeks ago, we were taking a lot of those calls. But this is a free referral line. You call, you say where you are. I'm in Smith County. I need help with. And then they tell you who in the community can help you with that. And sometimes I can just transfer your call over to them if you need the state benefits line. But you can also visit 211texas.org, which is the website that can connect you, and you can search for those services. But they're trained. They have talked to people down from the ledge, people that called 211 when they needed like a suicide help prevention line, and wonderful women doing great work trying to connect individuals with the resources they need to survive and live. So 211 can help with housing and shelter, food, utilities, healthcare, anything that there should be an organization to help you with, they'll connect you with. Now, these numbers are for our Smith County local line in the last year. 2,348 calls and referrals for utilities help, 2,150 for housing, 630 for healthcare. If someone calls you for healthcare, they don't have you're the parents of your children or the current caregivers of your children, if they don't have health insurance, what doctor do they see? If they're here in Tyler or they can get to Tyler, where would you send them? Where would you refer them to? Bethesda, which is also one of our nonprofit partners. So Bethesda provides dental. They even have cardiac care for individuals that are employed. Employment includes caregiving, by the way. If you are essentially a full-time caregiver to someone with more severe health needs or is elderly or children, that counts as employment to Bethesda. But if you don't have health insurance and you are employed or a caregiver, you can visit Bethesda to see a doctor, whatever your need is. 211 is not direct assistance, so people are calling saying, I need to pay my rent, I have no money. They're going to be referred to another agency. 211 does not provide that direct assistance. That's important to know because it can be frustrating. You know, call 211 if you need help. Hey, cool, let me send you to someone else. And unfortunately, a lot of times we have such high needs, but we simply don't have the resources in our community. In our greater Smith County, kind of East Texas area, there are only 6 government-funded rental assistance programs. And ours here that receives that funding is PATH. So it can be frustrating, but these are our calls that we receive. Our greatest needs have been, and this is reported from our areas, electric, rent, food pantry, and form assistance. They need help filling out forms. So one of my favorite referrals for form assistance, if they need help filling out that WIC or that SNAP benefits, is going to Goodwill. Our Goodwill next to Home Depot on the loop. If you go walk in the doors and you go immediately to your right, there's a little door there and it says Good Assist. And that is their program that it's kind of like 211, that they are a referral service, but they actually help you fill out the application and submit it. So if they're struggling, if they don't have a computer, they don't have internet, they're struggling to understand what these forms mean, Good Assist. Our unmet needs are normally due to the services not existing. Sometimes there's just not an opportunity. It even happens here in Smith County, but even in Wood and Van Zant, you can be sure that there's a lack of services available. Sometimes the clients are ineligible to get rental assistance from PATH. You have to have an eviction notice. Most of our utility assistance programs, it has to be a one-time qualifying event that happened. They don't want to see a consistent lack of ability to pay those bills. BCFS is another community resource, and they only provide rental assistance if you are an HIV or AIDS patient and generally like a single mother with children. Can't Be also has programs for this, but you have to be a veteran. But that's a lot to keep up with, right? So some of your key ones that you might interact with or might be a resource for you is Next Step Community Solutions. Told you about Goodwill's Good Assist, really awesome program, love it. Next Step Community Solutions, they provide in-school counseling for children that would otherwise not be able to see a counselor. Generally, children in your CASA case will probably be seeing one paid for by the court, but they also teach mass seminars to children about suicide awareness and help. What did they do when their friend starts talking a certain way? Who do they talk to? Who do they tell so that their friend gets help? Champions for Children provides training on concepts like autism. They also do early childhood development screenings to make sure that a child going into toddler stages is on the right track. Because if you Google that, sometimes you'll just get scared. Just like WebMD, don't Google your symptoms. Don't read the comments. So Champions for Children is a great resource. They're really friendly women up there, and I'm trying to think of their staff right now. I think it's mostly women up there, but really friendly women, very knowledgeable, happy to help. And of course, the Fostering Collective as well. Some of these resources have relationships with CASA and CASA staff already, so not encouraging you to necessarily wildly reach out on your own, but definitely talk to your case supervisor and see what resources there might be, but definitely have your own ideas.
So what is a fostering collective?
So the Fostering Collective is a nonprofit organization that kind of grew out of Green Acres, but they provide physical resources. So they have like a clothes closet, they have like a diaper closet. So physical resources for children in foster care, that if someone receives that phone call and they say, I got 3 kids coming to me, I have no kids' clothes, you can go to Fostering Collective and they can help you get clothes. But they also provide guidance and training for families that want to be foster families and support throughout that process. Because you can feel alone and stressed and overwhelmed. So they do support groups and they have resources and training. But when you feel stressed, overwhelmed, you don't know how you can make it, they're kind of that resource to ensure that those families stay active in that foster cycle and that they don't quit because of frustration or learned helplessness or anything. That if they quit, it's because, you know, they've seen so many children through the process and it's, you know, their retirement, or they've adopted and they've hit the max children in their household sort of thing. So great organization, great partnership to have. And all of these are United Way partner organizations. These are all organizations that receive funding from us. But there's tons of resources in the community. If you're curious, if you're on Zoom and you visited our website and you looked at our partner organizations, or if you're here in the room and you've looked at that pamphlet and you have a question about what exactly someone does, a lot of people think Goodwill's mission is to help provide cheap stuff through their store. That is not their mission at all. That is simply how they fund their mission of helping put people to work. Their goal is to help you learn to write your job resume so you can get a better job and to provide training and skills. They actually have an IT certificate program. It costs you $25 to go through an actual semester-long college class to become an IT professional and be able to get a job in that career. Now, will you be managing the head of an IT department after that? Probably not. But one of their graduates came and talked to us, and he is head of security at Globe Life Field, which is pretty freaking awesome. Any questions on resources or agencies that might be available to help you? We're scooting through this pretty fast. So one of my favorite last resources to have for you is 903 Help. It used to be 903help.org. It was run by the East Texas Human Needs Network, which does a community survey every year, which is great because they're just focusing on what are the community needs. Chris does a great survey every year, but they're focused on healthcare and health related needs. And Ethan does one, East Texas Human Needs Network is often called Ethan. And so they do a poverty simulation, which is really great because you think, you know, how does someone get in that position? And you get to do a like 1.5 hour simulation of how quickly you can find yourself in that circumstance. But they are a free resource service. Their website is more user friendly to me than 211. Ethan recently was I don't want to say overtaken, but it was incorporated under the wings of Goodwill. Kimberly Lewis is the executive director at Goodwill. She's an amazing woman. And so they took on this project. And so if you scan that QR code, it'll take you to that 903help.org database. During that process of Goodwill bringing them in and the established Ethan network, they lost the rights to that website. Someone else bought it out from under them. So they're working on it, but the database, the information is still there. So you can Google 903help.org. Like, don't type it into the actual HTTP bar, but just search it and it will pull this up. And they focus on Anderson, Cherokee, Rusk, and Smith counties, but you can put in a need and it will give you a list of resources, right? If someone needs a hot meal tonight, you can type in, not soup pantry, but soup kitchen. And we have 4 in Tyler, but 3 of them are only open certain days or certain times. Salvation Army is open 7 days a week. And they do a community meal every day that anybody from the community, you could walk down to or drive over to Salvation Army and get a free meal. No questions asked. All right. So that is a lot of information about United Way, all the overarching things we do and how that breaks down into these programs. Any questions? It can be such a struggle in our community to gain access to resources, but looking at those nonprofit partners of United Ways can be a great place to start. There's a lot of misconceptions about what each one of them does. I would have loved to sit through and told you each of the 27 and exactly what they do and how they could help, but that is way beyond the scope of your patience right now. But if you have any questions about what any of one of those organizations do or who might connect you to a need, go ahead, ask. Visit 903help.org, visit 211texas.com.org, or give the 211 hotline a call.
Do you know of any poverty simulations that are scheduled sometime in the near future?
No, and so the executive director of Ethan had left, and so they're kind of in a transition stage. I'm sure that if you reached out, because I think the individual that led those is still a part of it and doing it.
Okay.
You could potentially even ask for one to be done, sort of thing, but I do not know of any scheduled.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that amazing presentation. Yeah. Before we go, I want everybody on Zoom, we have an update for next CE, people over Zoom and in person. We have a guest speaker. His name is Dr. Stanley Ward, and it's we have a very unique opportunity with him. And I just want to talk about right now so y'all have a month in advance for it. But we have about 30 spots open. First come, first serve. We had to buy the books from him. So we only have 30 spots for that. So if that's something that you are interested in, just email me or Sonia, and then we can. That is a good question. It is How to Beat Burnout So it's just like a little stress and everything like that. So this we're focusing on this, how to combat stress in volunteer roles and how to combat like just the everyday struggles of volunteer roles, whether that's parents, whether that's the children or anything like that. And so we've invited Dr. Stanley Ward to give a presentation on that. And so I'll send out an email with the flyer, and we'll be able to have more information on that. But I just want to be able to talk about that right now. Sonia or Kathy, got anything about that?
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, we just recently went through a short session with them and it was extremely beneficial. So I would highly recommend that everybody take the time to participate in this. You would benefit in multiple ways.
Yes. And it's scheduled for our next continuing education, the last Wednesday of August. What day is that on? August
27th.
August 27th. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's all I have. Y'all have a good rest of your day.